Yup, that's, well, not me, but you might be wondering, how did we get here? And oh boy, do I have a story for you. Well, here I was mining cobblestone like any other day, and then I thought, what if we mined with a purpose? And then I remembered that cartographers sell maps with the directions to an ocean monument, so we picked the one that was as close to a straight line as possible, and we started mining until... And with mining fatigue, it would take a ton of time to keep on mining. Usually here would be the time to use TNT to keep it going, but there is no sand underground, so we would have to use the best tool against time. Patience. Mining fatigue makes you dig slower, so any block we needed to remove would take 37 times longer than it usually would. But with our will and plenty of time to spare, we made it out of the mine and into the sea. Then, the choice of a monument in a straight line from our base paid off, with another portal directly over our hallway. So we have a way of going back to our base faster. Still takes about a minute to go there and back, but it's definitely worth it. So it was time to get ready for some action, and we obviously got all the drugs that that could be of some use to make sure we achieved victory. Something to take from the Nuzlocke series, only this time is completely legal. So we got ourselves some potions of strength 2. We used glowstone instead of redstone to hit harder rather than hitting slightly harder for a longer time. We also got some potions of night vision to be able to see underwater, another use for the golden carrots and making a strong case for them to be the best item in the game. And we're going to be underwater for a while, so to make sure we don't use hundreds of doors, we got ourselves some potions of water breathing with some of the pufferfish we got from the long fishing session in one of the first episodes. And with that, and a ton of doors we made anyway, we were ready for the monument. We switched our boots to the netherite ones to be a little bit more protected, but these ones have Frostwalker instead of Depth Strider. So we are moving slower underwater, but with some trickery with the columns to break their line of sight, we were able to not get shot into oblivion, and we were able to kill the first Elder Guardian. We even got a sponge for it. And after the first one, we started looking for the second one, only to find it thanks to this tail coming out of the wall. This one was on the other wing of the monument, and you can tell I'm not used to navigating this place, because finding this guardian took quite some time. But again, with some trickery with the columns, we are able to get rid of the second Elder Guardian, this time without the strength potion. But you can definitely tell the difference, because this one has taken way longer than the first one. Because the drugs do make a difference. And now we definitely got lost searching for the third one. I ended up having to pause the game to look for the structure of the monument and realise it was the one at the very top we didn't deal with yet. Which is usually the one that you deal with first, but, coming from the bottom, now we're here. So we have to dig again. And once we had a hole inside the monument, it's the time when the fun begins. We get in the small room with the last Elder Guardian, and we're able to kill it thanks to the power of going up and down. Right now it's a matter of waiting until I can actually deal with these. But yeah, it wasn't that hard, to be fair. Just have to wait 2 minutes. Actually, in the meantime, I'm actually not sure what I'm going to do with this. I know that we are still underground, so making a farm with this might be reasonable. Well, yeah, we can talk, brain to brain. So yeah, making a farm, going underground, I don't think it's going to be the most efficient, because in the end, all the guardians are going to spawn above the monument, rather than inside of it. So I'm going to get rid of, all the water inside just in case, but at the same time, I don't think I'm going to... I could make a sort of makeshift farm, we'll have to think about it, but we're going to drain this thing first, now face to face, It's a sort of tight spot. But yeah, we are going to drain this thing with the sponges that we have up here once we get rid of the mining fatigue, and we can actually get the proper tools. I think it's the hoe, the one that we need to use. But then, yeah, we're going to drain this thing, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do with it. And a ton of draining we did. Yep, this episode is going to be a mix of me talking over a very long process and the small bits of talking that I did to explain what I was going to do. And it wouldn't have been possible without one of my great YouTube findings of the month. If you like horror stories and don't mind somewhat salty topics, and there are some of them that I would definitely recommend to adult watchers, go give a look to Wendigoon. Link to this channel, or to this channel in the description. But yeah, his videos on the conspiracy theory iceberg were essential for me not losing my mind with all the draining, getting to the nether to dry up the sponges, and back to more draining. And once the draining was done, then we needed to remove all the walls from inside the monument as well. So I had time to figure out what the Divine Comedy was actually really all about. Alright, so after a while investigating how the Guardian spawning works, we figured out a way that we could make a farm, and actually without leaving the underground. So let's go give it a look. All right. So this is the sea level. This is our ocean monument, and this is our sea bed. So spawning rules say that guardians are going to spawn anywhere in here, in this area. So usually what you do is you drain the monument, cover all of this in soul sand, and then put a way, sort of pipe to get them upwards. But we don't have access to that part of the world, so we're going to have to do it the other way around. So apparently mobs are going to be spawning, I think it's in a 129 block radius. So we would go 129 blocks upwards, so we make sure that all the guardians spawn in here, but we're going to do it the other way around. So what we're going to do is to make a massive hole that goes all the way down to the bedrock level. So if we are standing in here, that's me. We should have mobs spawning in 129 blocks. So hopefully, if we reduce the amount of chunks that we are loading, we might be able to get a spawn radius that works something like this. So if we light up all of the caves around, we should be able to get all of the guardians spawning in here and not in the rest of the monument. Alright, so with that plan, we already put in some work. It's right behind us. So we dug out most of the pit. I think that goes up to Y minus 10-ish. But then, when you get to the deep slate, then it is annoying to just dig that. So we stopped for a while to try to make the spawning platform thingy. So guardians are going to be able to spawn as long as there is water. So what we're going to do is to place, water over here. Try to stop the water from going down with these signs. And then the guardians are going to fall down to their death. Now we just have to keep digging down just to make sure that, we get most of our spawns in our little box over here. So let's finish the sign bed that we have in here. Let's put the spawning thingy, and let's try to, at least see if we get our first spawns down there. And after placing a ton of signs and making our water box, the second we got down into the pit, we had guardians falling. Right, so there should be raining guardians. Yay! Yep, we are still loading pretty much everything. So what I would like to do is to go all the way down and then... That's the other thing, I don't see them falling that often. I need to kill them myself. But yeah, it's a good sign that they are spawning. So let's keep going with this over here, because that is going to be the next task for the farm. going to be. Let's see it. It's going to be a ton of mob proofing this massive cave that we have over here, and it has to be 129 blocks in every direction. That is going to take quite some time. So, let's go! And off we went into the cave. This was a massive one, and actually it's not only going to be a great one for the view, but also at the very end of the cave we have 3 separate geodes, so another source of calcite for the future. But after a total of 1.5 hours caving, we made it out alive with our mob cap focused on the Guardian farm and with a couple axolotls. And after that, we got back to the pit, and to add to the horror stories we were listening to, we had an occasional heart attack with a Guardian falling right in front of us and dying. Talk about immersive experience. So, once the pit was done, it was time to work out the collection system. We started with just water flowing and putting them in a hole in the middle, but turns out that these guys, although they have 0.85 block hitbox, they are always jumping around and they get stuck in the middle. The other thing is the height they fall from. So they should take 32 blocks to die. So if we are 31 blocks below that, well, below the collection platform, they should still be alive when they hit the ground. However, the fact that they are jumping around means they might take more fall damage. So we need to sort that one out. And note to myself for future farms, make sure they are not spawning while I'm working on the collection system. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. We are almost done with the farm, but there is one small thing that sort of terrifies me, and I kind of regret putting it for this late in the build. So we need to spawn-proof the entrance that is outside, and now all the guardians have been spawning over there. So that is going to increase massively our rates, and problem is that we're going to have a ton of guardians just shooting at us. So let's hope for the best. Right, so the plan is to just put a roof over that thing and put a roof over the arches and not dying. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it? And once we have that, you're here. This is going to take longer than I thought, but actually we do have a problem with the amount of guardians that are going to be coming in. Actually, this is one of the weirdest fights that I've ever had. Right. So yeah, so what I would like to do is to put a roof over these things so they technically count as the indoors that we have been using. And then once we have that, we can drain this bit, and that will increase our rates over here. I don't know exactly, because there's like way too many for comfort. And also, there might be another way of doing this. Did we, or are there more now than there were before? And out of the time we have been shooting guardians only to get more and more in there, I'm about to make a terrible mistake. So now that we have a way for the guardians to flop back into the monument, what do you think it's going to happen? A, we get all of the guardians in, and this makes it easier to kill them since they take damage when not in water. B, the guardians decide to surrender and die instantly. C, all of the guardians start flopping around, and this makes it impossible to kill them. D, I go back to the cave in frustration and forget about all of this. well, the music in the background is going to be enough of a giveaway, so roll it. Coming in or what? There you go. Right, this might have been not that good of an idea. Yup, that solved absolutely nothing, but we got a ton of shards of crystals for it. We're going to test one thing. You might be sacrificed, buddy. But off you go. That it didn't even make a dent. Right, let's take a more direct approach to the training this thing. And the gravel approach worked wonderfully. And after another hour of dropping gravel, removing kelp that was breaking the gravel, and placing the roof, we drained the entrance to the monument as well. Right, and we finally got our Guardian farm completely underground, and it somewhat works. You can see that we have the Guardians falling in, and, well, we have some of them. But we were able to make some of the materials that we could get from the Guardian farm, mostly prismarine and sea lanterns. I don't know if it makes it worth it, but we have been able to complete a farm underground that we shouldn't have. One of the things that I would like, well, yeah, that I want to give a look is how efficient this thing is. Out of how many Guardians we can get falling into the tube in 15 minutes, because it felt like when I was sitting down here, yep, that we got fewer Guardians than we got fewer Guardians than we did when we were all the way up that scaffolding. So let's see how many would we get in here compared to up there. Right, and now that we have completed the farm, I can say I think it worked better when we didn't have the entrance drained. But, well, the challenge of living in the cave is not only to survive in the constant darkness or lack of animals, but making do with whatever rates we have, although these don't look particularly good. The other good thing about this is that only with removing the water source from the spawning box, we can get the regular farm going, so it's flexible enough to make a better one afterwards. Now, was it worth the effort to get a mediocre farm? Maybe. Was it good enough to make a 20-minute episode with all the troubles we got through to make it? Also maybe. Am I running out of questions for the clip at the very end of the episode? You guessed it. Maybe. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you have, if you haven't, and if you want to see more pointless efforts to keep on thriving in the cave, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you all on the next one. See ya!